Hello! Today I'd like to tell you about the tubes, or to be more precise, to describe the way I'm preparing them now. 10 years ago, our first masterclass was devoted to this topic too. Now it is a bit funny to watch. A lot has changed since then. By the way, we did shoot such videos 5 and 7 years later. I mean, there is progress. The process is getting modified and improved. So today I'd like to tell the newbies how I've been preparing tubes lately, based on everything I know, based on experience of my own and of other masters. First of all, what concerns the material, I mostly use such paper. It is newsprint of A3 format, 45 gram density. I buy it in such packs of 1,000 sheets each. When unpacked, a paper sheet looks like this. After unpacking a pack, first of all I check the direction of fibers. For this purpose I take one sheet and break it. At first I try breaking it like this. As far as I see, the break line is rather straight. After which I try breaking a sheet in a different direction. The edge is uneven. This means I'm going to rail the tubes this way, cutting a sheet along the shorter side. Earlier I used to cut paper with the help of a utility knife. Currently I'm using a paper cutter. I've mentioned it on purpose that this is a type of paper I mostly use. However, when I'm lucky to find a treasure like this, a friend of mine was going to throw it away as paper wastage, but she thought that maybe I could make use of it. Definitely I couldn't resist the temptation. I've cut it into strips. This paper is a little bit denser, but it can be used anyway. By the way, I've already tried and woven such a basket in a ragged style. I frayed the tubes a little on purpose, but let's leave this topic for the future. Many of you have heard about this technique already. So I personally use the paper I have available. If you weave only for sale, for example, it is obvious that you should use the most qualitative paper. But I know that many people following my channel weave for themselves, for gifts or for the sake of training. That's why I propose you not to ignore the opportunities you see around you, but to try and weave. This is an interesting experience. Now let's talk about the width of a strip. For today I mostly roll tubes of 3 types. Of a strip 10.5 cm, about 4 inches wide, 7 cm, 2.75 inches wide, and 5 cm, 2 inches wide. Here you can see the item woven of 7 cm wide strip. This type of strip is actually the most popular one. As for a knitting needle, the one I use today is 1.2. I didn't like much rolling around a knitting needle number 1. I like the needle size 1.2 point better. As for 5 cm wide strips, I use them seldom, mostly for a kind of embroidery in root weaving. I'm talking about wrapping, root weaving, where I apply such fine stitches. It is what I've got interested in recently and for which I've rolled tubes of 5 cm strips too. I've rolled these white tubes of 7 cm wide strips and light blue ones of 5 cm wide strips. You can see on the example of this work that they look different. I ran out of thin white tubes, so I made use of the ones I had in store. Of course, it is better to use identical tubes in one work, but this is a good example of the difference in tube thickness. Unfortunately, I have no items at hand made from 10.5 cm wide strips. I've prepared such tubes and I'm going to weave a basket from them. I've woven one and I've liked it, but I cannot show it to you because I don't have it anymore. Now let's compare the tubes. This one has been woven from a 10.5 wide strip. This and these ones are 7 cm, while this one is 5 cm wide. They are different. By the way, this one has been rolled from advertisement booklets and then painted. They are a bit motley, not unicolored, but I use them as a base very often. I mean, I make use of all kinds of material. So, depending on the item I'm going to weave, I choose the strip breeds. Or if I have ready tubes, I choose the ones that suit me. By the way, recently I've seen a very interesting Instagram ad of Christina Strode, where she rolled extra large sized tubes. The idea has made me interested. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll definitely do. So I'm emphasized on purpose that I'm showing you the way I make tubes for now. The process is going and it is an active process of learning, improving and experimenting. A couple of months ago I made a precious purchase. I bought such a paper cutter. Moreover, I bought it from a friend of mine who's also a weaver, Galina Yarmoluk. I'm happy I did because it gave us an extra reason for communication. I still have its original package. Take a look, please. Well, I'm not sure where to buy it, but I think you can find it on the internet the way I did. I like it very much as it has made my work much easier. Actually, I've been dreaming of this tool for quite a while and finally I've got it. It is really a very valuable purchase. Let me show you the way I cut paper. It is a guillotine style cutter. There are also rotatory ones, but I cannot say anything about them because I have no experience with them. As for this one, take a look please. There is such a magnet paper adjuster included. In this case I'm rolling thicker tubes for a basket. I like Christina's idea a lot. Why use many tubes if I can use fewer thicker ones? So far the widest paper strips I use are 10.5 cm wide. I've placed a paper adjuster at the width of 10.5 centimeters. I've calculated that I'm going to get 4 such strips from my sheet of paper. So the adjuster is fastened, and I cut the strip like this, very neatly. Got it? Straighten and the next one. Got it. At the very beginning I had paper jammed a couple of times by the knife, but after a while I adapted myself to the tool. You just have to understand how to press the knife. It took me a few times to understand how to cut paper without jamming. I don't cut many sheets at once. Well, I haven't counted, but I think I've got about 10 sheets or so. Press to the adjuster and cut. Got it? Maybe I haven't explained clearly enough what I mean by pressing the knife. Depending on my position, to the right or to the left from the tool, the pressure direction changes. I've noticed that if I sit from this side and direct the knife toward myself, the cut becomes neater. Got it? That's all. If I need thinner tubes, I place a paper adjuster at 7 cm. Here it is. Can you see the ruler? So I place the adjuster at 7 cm, adjoin the paper sheets this way, and cut in the same very way. Correspondingly, you do the same to get 5 cm wide strips. Well, I'm not going to do now because I don't need such narrow strips for today. That's all. The tool is easy to store in its original package somewhere behind a cabinet. Now let me show you the way I make the tubes. I used to roll tubes suspended, but at some point I've adapted myself to rolling them on a surface. The picture is not very nice, sorry. However, a nice picture is one thing, but why should I show you a beautiful picture if I do roll tubes on this very mat, which is not too nice looking anymore? Well, other reviewers mention mats from fixed price stores, but I have no idea what it is. We have no fixed price network here. That's why I'll repeat myself. You can use whatever is convenient for you personally and whatever you have at hand. I did some research and found a rubber mat in a shoemaker store. So I bought a piece of rubber and I'm quite satisfied with it. In order to keep it from sliding, I additionally put such a cloth onto the desk. And this is how I roll the tubes. As a rule, I prepare 15 or 20 strips at once. Well, I'm not going to make many this time, but in general I've noticed from my experience that in order to keep the glue at the corners from drying, the best thing is to prepare 20 strips at once and spread some school glue along the corners. If you glue 30 strips at once, for example, it will be inconvenient because they will occupy most of the desk, and besides the glue will dry by the moment you reach the last one. So 20 strips is a perfect number. I use an umbrella rib. Moreover, there are different kinds of umbrella ribs. Earlier I used thicker ones, but recently I've got an umbrella with such a thin rib broken. I put a strip onto a mat, press it slightly at the beginning, and start rolling a tube very neatly. Well, it's not very convenient for me because I'm currently using a portable desk. Take a glued strip. Pay attention to the angle. It has to be small. I mean a sharp angle between the rib and the strip. And start rolling very carefully. And this way until the very end. Lately, thanks to a kind person who has recommended this trick, I've been using such a thing. This is a spectacle case. As you can see, the way it looks leaves much to be desired too, but it is what I'm using. Take a look, please. I don't strain my hand. And thanks to this trick, a tube has gotten rather dense. I noticed once that they do differ. You can even feel it with your fingers. Roll a bit. There's one more important point to pay attention to. In case you decide to repeat the idea and make use of a glass case, make sure you don't change the angle. It is easier, of course, to adjust the angle with your hand, but when you use a glasses case, you can get distracted from the required angle. That's why you have to get used to the process in order to avoid long lays up. My paper is a bit dry. Recently I usually keep the strips in the bathroom for a day or two. But sometimes I fail too. This time I'm using the ones which are completely dry. Well, I don't like moistening the strips while rolling, but keeping them in a wet bathroom for a day or two makes them much easier for tube rolling. Enough for now. I use D3 PVA glue, which is water resistant. Sometimes it happens that I need to paint the tubes right after rolling them. If I paint them with colorant, it keeps the tubes from unrolling. Once I've tried and covered them with water-based mordant, and a few tubes have gotten unrolled. This has made me realize that if you're going to coat the tubes with mordant, you have to let them dry overnight. After this, you can put them into a liquid solution. Let me show you once again. A spectacle case helps making a tube dense. Well, you can think of a different scene to use. If any of you knows who has invented this trick, please share the master's name. I'd like to thank him. The fingers stay more intact, and I like the process more this way. So this is the way I'm rolling the tubes today. I'll be happy if someone will find the idea useful. I believe most of you know it already, but there are always newbies coming around. If you learn by masterclasses, I recommend you paying attention to the year of the video. Oops, I've spoiled the tube, it happens sometimes. I mean, everything is changing all the time. The later the masterclass is, the more relevant the information is. What kind of a tube can be considered qualitative? It has to be smooth and identical all along. I usually cut a lay-up off, approximately like this, and cut off a short tail from the opposite side as well. Well, let's compare the tube thickness from both ends. As you can see, the beginning and the end of the tube are identical. This tube even more dense, the inside gaps are tiny. I've cut 3 tubes into halves in order to check them. These are the ends of the tube. They are approximately identical, which means that the tube is of high quality. If you fail to get qualitative tubes so far, continue experimenting. Try adjusting the angle. Use a glasses case or some other thing for denser rolling, resulting from pressing the tube to the mat. Finally, based on your experience, you'll get to understand how to make qualitative tubes. I've chosen the topic of tubes for today's masterclass on purpose. We've been working for 10 years already. As I've mentioned, the process is constantly improving. Newbies are constantly joining us. We have 100,000 subscribers already, which makes us happy and thankful to those who follow us. I believe this masterclass will be very useful for new potential masters. Stay with us. If you're not our subscriber yet and have seen this masterclass accidentally, you're welcome to subscribe to our channel. Click like as this helps to promote the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to be notified of our new masterclasses. See you!